Bookend to opening weekend here at Founders Park as South Carolina is set to take on Albany for the final time this afternoon. Both games this weekend against the Great Danes have been handed victories, so let's find out if they can continue that trend this afternoon. You hear that, Columbia? Off in the distance, it's a traffic jam on 20 and 26, which means it's game week for Gamecock football here in Columbia. Your Gamecocks are back at Williams-Brice this week, and we'll have coverage for that, as well as men's and women's soccer and volleyball this week on Capital City Sports. Gamecock baseball is in Arkansas starting tonight for an SEC series that's going to be an uphill climb for the Gamecocks. Logan Chapman is on the bump for Mark Kingston tonight, his first weekend start, and the Razorbacks start Blaine Knight, who comes in with a scorching 1.93 ERA. First pitch is at 6 on the SEC network. After what he called a disappointing first attempt at a green jacket this past weekend at the Masters, Wesley Bryan now returns here to Harbortown Golf Links on Hilton Head Island, where he won the RBC Heritage last year. And being from South Carolina, he not only sees this as defending his plaid jacket, he's also defending home turf.
He told us point blank, they're not going to cheer for you. They will never cheer for you.
For Dominique Thompson, the road to the WWE starts here on Two Notch Road in Columbia. A road paved with headlocks, trash talk, diamond cutters, and adversity.
I wrestled all through high school. I would have wrestled for USC's club team, but I tore my ACL, so I had to give that up.
People around Palmetto Championship Wrestling will tell you that injury has not stopped him yet.
He's always been one of those guys, like, you can tell when somebody just wants it, when they actually are applying themselves, and that's why I gravitate towards Jet.
Very skilled, humble. He's kind of like the culmination of a bunch of everything you're looking for in one person.
Injuries are a given in this industry, but for Dominique and other African-American wrestlers, so is racism.
Like, we were setting up the ring, doing our thing, and then I just happened to see, like, there are a lot of bald-headed people here. What's that about? I looked down at one of them, he had like his body tatted up. He had a big tat on his calf. It was like a swastika mural. So a lot of people, that would probably be like, yo, I don't want to do this. we need to get the fuck out of here. Nah, like that's exactly what I want to work in front of. That's the exact kind of people that I want to reach.
This hasn't deterred him either, even in the most extreme situations. A blustery Monday morning sets the scene for the kickoff of the RBC Heritage. No traditional opening cannon blast today, but there were plenty of the tournament's iconic plaid jackets. And the newest recipient of that jacket, former Gamecock Wesley Bryan. But last week, Bryan tried for a different jacket for the first time, the green jacket of the Masters, and he says they're two very different tournaments.
Really not that many similarities other than there's a tee box, a fairway, a green, and a hole.
As he always does, he has his dad by his side, which means a lot to the both of them.
He's the one that taught me the game. He was the one that dragged me to all the tournaments growing up as a kid. So to be able to kind of enjoy this journey and experience together has been really special.
It's truly a privilege and an honor. I'm having a lot of fun. And everything's going by too fast, but I'm incredibly humbled.
After what he called a disappointing first attempt at a green jacket this past weekend at the Masters, Wesley Bryan now returns here to Harbortown Golf Links on Hilton Head Island, where he won the RBC Heritage last year. And being from South Carolina, he not only sees this as defending his plaid jacket, he's also defending home turf.
Obviously have some good memories around this place that I'll be able to draw on as well. So I'm looking forward to another fun week and, yeah, defending this jacket.
Some may say green looks better than plaid, but Wesley appreciates the pattern for what it means to the sport.
It looks better than a green jacket in my opinion, but there's no doubt at some point I definitely want a green jacket in the closet as well.
From Hilton Head, John Wagoner, Carolina News.
He told us point blank, they're not going to cheer for you. They will never cheer for you. And I was like, yo, okay, we'll show you. And that's basically what we did. It was a fun time with the neo-Nazis.
In the ring, he goes by Jet Black, and he is a member of the
Equal Nation Demonstration.
They describe themselves as...
It's almost like if civil rights was less about peaceful protest and more about kicking you in the teeth.
Jed and the END got the win at Spring Valley High School on this Sunday, but he told me after the match he has higher expectations.
Now that I know I have 2 working legs, I'm going to try to get these legs everywhere around the world, you know? So my next goal is to leave the country, is to take Jet Black International.
If a group of neo-Nazis and a torn ACL couldn't stop him, there may not be much that can. For Carolina News, I'm John Wagner. Some of the most dedicated English soccer fans are up and at it for one of their biggest games of the year, the North London Derby.
Now, for those uninitiated about the North London Derby, it started in the year 1913. At the time, Arsenal Football Club was across the Thames River in South London from Tottenham, and they decided to move locations just 3 miles away from the club, causing a lot of controversy, and the rivalry has been heated ever since.
This rivalry hasn't always been the easiest to keep up with for Tottenham and Arsenal fans.
We didn't get EPL on cable even or anything like that. So you follow, you look it up online, you see how they're doing.
Now these fans have full-blown supporters clubs to cheer on their teams, meeting up in bars around Columbia. Tottenham Hotspur fans at the British Bulldog in Harbison, and Arsenal fans at the Cock and Bull on Rosewood Avenue.
We found the group that actually met every week and had a Facebook page and had an official membership and had community service projects. We were like, this is our jam.
There's nothing like, the banter that you get with all of your closest friends watching the match who care just as deeply as you do.
Some of the members watch with beer, others just with coffee and breakfast, but everyone has their eyes glued to the screen. Tensions rise in both bars as the game is still tied, and finally Tottenham has a breakthrough just after halftime, and both bars react accordingly.
One second. God. All right.
Tottenham finished out the game with a 1-0 victory and bragging rights for the next year. The South Carolina Spurs will be back next weekend supporting their team.
Come on, you Spurs!
For Carolina News, I'm John Wagner.
Thanks. If you're unfamiliar with these apps, they host live trivia games every day on your phone for free and give away money every game. If you have heard of these games, you've probably heard about HQ. But a company down in Charleston is getting in on the game, trying to compete with that top dog in the trivia game.
As families file into the MUSC Health Stadium on Daniels Island in Charleston for a movie night, they have no idea they're just steps away from a sleeping giant. This nondescript building just steps from the home of the Charleston Battery Soccer Club, oddly enough is the home of the Q. A live trivia app that hosts nightly games to thousands of viewers to try and win money. But they aren't the only players in the live trivia game. They're going up against HQ, an app started by the founders of the former social network Vine with millions of players every night. But they're the only one that's based out of South Carolina.
Plane tickets are cheaper than rent and people in other major cities, so we have an advantage.
Will Jameson's company provides streaming services to businesses who need them, and the hunt to find clients led him into the trivia market.
When we saw HQ was struggling with their video, first thought was, hey, that'd be a great enterprise customer of ours. Didn't get a response, and figured that we could compete in the space. We felt like we'd be missing out on an opportunity if we didn't go heads down and try and compete.
Without much advertising since their launch in December, the app is still under the